All right, the Sabero is on. We live, we live, we live. Pep Talk, Pro Bs, joined with Ty Mitchell, super middleweight sensation, about to come back real soon, and Kurt Deville, Counterpunch Boxing News. My guys, what's popping? How y'all doing?
Good, bro. Good.
Yeah, everything's
look, man,
good.
Everything's good, man. We got to get into the events of last night, or early in the morning for us in the UK, where Teofimo Lopez has become the man at 135. I thought it was an excellent display. I thought he showed what he's really about. I thought he backed the talk, which his old man put out there that he was going to do. Guys, what did you think? Ty, enlighten me.
You know what? Before the fight, I put on my social media, yo, this is a real 50-50 fight. Like, people was like, foregone conclusion, Loma's going to win. Like, Lopez is good, but Loma's a different breed. He's too clever, this and that. And I knew that Lopez was no joke. But then I watched the weigh-in and the press conference, and Lopez looked rattled, whereas Loma was the same calm self. So I kind of swayed a bit more. I thought, oh, you know what? It's still going to be a close fight, but I started to sway more towards Loma. Bro, he was not rattled, bro. My man was fired up and ready to go. He did everything he said. And Loma I don't understand why Loma didn't do nothing from the start. I think he wasn't given the opportunity to do nothing. I think he threw him off his game. He stopped him from planting and setting traps and stuff because I think he threw a lot of good hard shots at the start. But having said that, I still had it a draw. I had
a draw.
Yeah, I had it a draw. I had Loma. I had Lopez winning the first 5, and then I had Loma winning the 6. That's the first half of the fight. Then I had Loma winning 6-11, and then I had Lopez winning the last round. But some of them rounds was very close, so I wasn't surprised that I wasn't surprised if I'd have been surprised if Loma won, but I wasn't surprised that Lopez won. Even though I had it a draw, I think that if someone was going to win, it should have been Lopez. But it was a few close rounds. But I don't think 109, 119. What kind of scorecard was that? He needs sacking. He needs sacking, bro. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, he really did back his talks. You've got to give it to the kid, man. He's a young kid. He asked for the fight, and he went in there and said he didn't get stage fright. He didn't freeze under the pound-for-pound king. And he just went in there and did what he had to do. So fair play to him, man. Well done, and he deserves it, and I'm happy for him.
Kurt, was it a draw for you? Or one-sided?
Was it a draw? No, it was not one-sided. It was not a one-sided fight. The only problem was in this fight, Loma waited too long to download the information like a lot of people thought he was doing. He's just figuring them out. He's seeing what this guy's about. He's seeing what he can do when he does certain things in there. And that's what he did. But he did it too late. And I think, honestly, the punching power was bothering him a bit because I think he could have done the same things that he done was starting in the 6th. So starting in the 6th round, he really started to work the jab. The double jab was working for him. He was beating Lopez to the punch when he would get off, when he decided to get off. But the only problem is he wasted a while. Because look, the first round, the only person really, I don't even think he threw one punch in the first. I know he feinted a lot just to see where or what direction Lopez was going to go, what he was going to do. Lopez did exactly what he stayed composed. He stayed with the shoulder roll, and he worked the body because that's the only thing you could really hit. Loma blocked everything else. So in his mind, he was thinking, well, this kid can't get to me. I got this kid. So I'm going to drag this kid in the later rounds and show him what's up. But Lopez has never been the guy that wastes shots, like I've told you. He's never been no guy that wastes shots. So he's a counterpuncher. Counterpunchers don't waste shots. He's not going to give you what you give him. So Loma had to, you know what? Okay, let me go ahead and force the issue. Let me start working the jab. Then the left, he landed the left. I think in the 2nd or 3rd round, he landed a good left hand. And that kind of got Lopez's attention. But Lopez didn't stop working the body. He didn't stop jabbing, and he didn't stop the work rate. And I think the work rate is what won the fight for him. There was no knockdowns. You know, I think he might have hurt Loma maybe in the later rounds a bit because I did see him hold for the first time ever. You know, Loma doesn't like to hold. In fact, he's anti-holding. So, I think he did hurt him with either the right uppercut he landed with, because he was shooting for that punch all night, and he didn't give up on that punch. I feel he should have just threw the right like the Linares, and he landed some, but he reverted to that right. And if you notice something about Lopez, he counters with the left or the right uppercut in the shoulder roll, the catch and shoot. So that's what he was doing, but he really wasn't successful. And the scorecards, dude, it was ridiculous. That is what gives Loma the idea, like, look, something's ahead. If I'm Loma, I'm like, yo, these guys wanted to cheat me. They think I'm getting older. So you know what? I don't think he's responded, but I would be disappointed in that, because regardless of how close it was, of how good of a fight we saw, the scorecards were janky. Counterpunch. So that's my take on it. Did Lopez do enough to win? Sure. Did Loma do enough to catch up? It's debatable. But was something definite? Were the scorecards? Was the scorecards the way they're supposed to be? Hell no, they wasn't. Not in a million years. Was it 119 to 109?
That was mad.
Save that. Yeah. You know what that looks like? That looks like a Canelo scorecard. That's what it looked like. It looked like a Canelo scorecard to me. I'm like,
it was actually the same judge that scored Canelo beating Mayweather, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. That was mad. Was that Adelaide Bird? That was
the same judge.
No. That was CJ Ross, and because of Mayweather being Mayweather, CJ Ross you never seen her again. But it does. You never seen her again. You never seen CJ Ross ever again. That you talking about that 114, right? CJ Ross. You never seen her again. The power of Mayweather. He was like, get her ass out of here. No, we ain't gonna have her. No.
I think judges definitely need to be held accountable for the bad judging. I think the thing is with judges or bad reffing or like bad reffing or bad judging, I think the problem is they're never held accountable. And if they are held accountable, it's behind closed doors. I think they should be put at the forefront, like boxers are when they do something wrong and they get banned. I think it should be common knowledge when the officials get dealt with properly, because they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. I think they should be fined if they're clearly not doing their job properly. You're getting paid to do a job, and it's people's careers. They've trained their whole lives working for this, and just because you don't know how to do your job properly, you shouldn't be in the business then, because you're ruining people's careers, what they worked their whole life to do. So I think there definitely needs to be more accountability for bad judging. And maybe even going back to it, and if it was clearly a wrong decision and someone's clearly been robbed, there should be avenues to overturn the decision, I believe.
But is there an argument that Lomachenko just simply was not busy enough in the first 6 rounds? I mean,
definitely, that's it. He wasn't busy enough.
Did you see the punch stats for the first 3-4 rounds? For Lomachenko, for a man that's a high volume puncher, they were pretty low. That was not Lomachenko. I was like, at one point, is that Lomachenko's brother in the ring?
I don't get why. Like everybody probably was sitting there thinking the first couple of rounds it's normal. He does that a lot. You think he's collecting data, but then you're expecting him to do what he started to do from the 6th, 7th, 8th. But he didn't do it from rounds. And I'm thinking to the point right now is, does he think that his game plan is to just try and stop him late? Because I'm thinking you've left so much time now. It's to the 6th round. You have to win every single round now. And I was thinking, unless that's the best you can get now, a draw. Obviously, I did have him winning the 6th, but it was a very close round. It could have gone either way. So I'm thinking, I just don't understand why. I'm thinking, you know what round it is? What other option have you got but to knock him out now and settle for a draw? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It wasn't. I was very shocked. I was very, very, very shocked. And at some points, I was thinking, is he scared of him? Like, is he feeling the power on it? Because he wasn't getting caught flush a lot in the start.
Yeah.
Elbow, so you can feel the power. But he showed on the second half of the fight, he wasn't scared because he started having it. So I was thinking, so why did you have to do it from the start? I just don't get it. I don't know. It was very bizarre to watch.
It's interesting. Let's take a question from someone that's just joined. Cootsie, this was Loma's last contracted fight with Top Rank, supposedly. Kurt, what can you tell me?
I'm really not sure on his contract. I just know he was a franchise champion. And my understanding of the franchise champion, you couldn't get the belt taken from you. So I was very surprised. I think that decision was from Mauricio because people were putting too much heat on him, too much criticism. Like, hey, why can't these guys lose this belt? You just give them this belt, this trinket, this whatever, but you can't lose it. And I think he decided, well, let's up the ante. Let's see. Let's make that belt winnable to someone else. And Teofimo has that belt now. What he does with it is now up to him. Now it's the responsibility resides in him. So you hear people, you see people do something. Like Canelo was once that guy that fought everybody. He fought Lara. He fought, all these guys. He fought them. But now look at him. He doesn't want to put himself in the same situation as those guys. Don't be like those guys. If he needs to fight Haney, he needs to fight Haney. Because at that point, because there's another champion out there. Like undisputed means that. That means you cannot dispute yourself as being a champion. Why? Because you have every belt in that weight class. As long as Devin Haney has a belt, regardless of whatever you want to call it, super, Mayan, diamond, whatever it is, it's still out there. So he needs to fight Devin Haney. And that should be the next fight. So I think he should have, since him, 23 years of age, and he's having a career like Anthony Joshua, I think he needs to continue that type of career because that's what is giving him the momentum going forth. The opposition, as opposed to what I have or how much money I've made, if that makes sense. Because the money's going to come as long as you keep beating these guys. It's going to come. Just ask Joshua. So the money's going to be there. And I think he should. And I think, I don't know what Loma, again, why he started so late. Again, I think it might have been a punch. But I can tell you this. I'm looking at the total punches. 321 thrown for Loma. 659 thrown for Lopez. Now landed 183 for Lopez, but 141 landed for Loma. Now, the question is, would you guys want to see a rematch? That's the question.
I would.
And see, and here's my thing. A lot of people are going to get pissed off, but let me counter. Due to the scorecards himself, I'm the guy that had the rest of the belts. Now, it was shitty. Now, fair play to Lopez. It was a bad call that they thought, hey, we got this fight in a bag. We don't need a rematch clause. That's their bad. Now, Team Lopez can do whatever. They can do whatever they want to do at this point. But because of those scorecards, do you think that that's warranted? Because they were shady. And I feel it's been a bubble thing, because a lot of these fights, if you notice, all these fights with these type of scorecards, they've been weird. They've been like way off. And this is no exception. And if Loma started earlier, what would you thought would have happened if he would have started earlier based on what you've seen him do and from round 6 to round 12 or round 7 to round 12?
Good question, man. Good questions. Kurt's put it out there. All right, we'll read out some of the questions from some of the people that are in the live chat. This one's directed at Ty Mitchell. Loma's 32 years old. Through the lockdown, he's not been getting the best international sparring. And then the fight got cancelled. They rebooked. Loma is suffering because of the lockdown and his age. Is that something you would agree with, Ty?
I think everyone's been in a lockdown. I think even though Loma was out the ring a long time, so was Lopez. Not as long, but he was still out the ring a long time. It's definitely going to have an impact. They say one of the worst things to a boxer's career is inactivity. So it's going to have an effect on everyone. His lockdowns had an effect on everyone. It's definitely not helped him. And his age is a human being. Do you know what I mean? So his age is father time. Do you know what I mean? You can only do what your body can do. I think he lives a very clean lifestyle from what I've seen. He trains like an absolute mule. But he's getting older. And at the lighter weights, your time finishes quicker. The longevity is more. The higher you are in weight, you've got a bit more longevity. And obviously, you've got to think when you're getting older, the first thing to go is your reactions. The last thing to go is your power. So his reactions are not going to be what they was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 2, 3 years. Do you know what I mean? So they're only going to slow down. And obviously, because he's such a reaction fighter, they're going to be the first thing to go. So his age was inevitably going to have an impact. I think if he boxed it, I'd still like to see the fight again. Me personally, if I just as a boxing fan, I'd like to see it again, just to what he knows, what each other's about now, and I'd like to see the different game plans. But if I was in Lopez's situation, I wouldn't give him a rematch. I'd be like, what do I need to rematch you for? Do you know what I mean? I chase you down, I beat you fair and square, and done. I keep it moving. But if I was on Loma's situation, I definitely want the rematch. And as a fighting fan, I want a rematch. But will it happen? I don't think it will happen. I think maybe him and Haney should fight. I think Lopez will deal with Haney. I think Lopez will deal with Haney for sure. I think obviously I know he's a bit lighter, but I think the one to rule the rules, Tank, man. I think Tank's the dangerous boy in this game.
Tank is a that's power versus power.
The only person I can see beating Loma was Tank, just because of his sheer explosiveness and speed and just, you know what I mean? But obviously Lopez proved me wrong and he came through and done it. But Tank ain't nothing to be played with. Tank's young as well, and he's an animal. So I think they're all. I know he's a bit lighter, but I know they're all floating around the same way. I think Tank rules the roost. I think he comes out on top if they all fight each other for sure.
All right, excellent, guys. Remember, smash that like button. Ty Mitchell, Kurt Deville in the building. It's a party. Loma, Lopez, your reaction, please. All right. So Anthony Montella. Okay, when are you getting back to clean up the light heavyweights? Anthony's saying, but you're super middle.
Yeah, no, I was light heavy, and then I went down to super middle. But obviously, people don't believe I'm super middle. Like, they don't think I can make it because I'm like 6'4". Obviously, I'm not skinny. I don't know if you can see, but I'm not skinny. I'm quite big at the weight. To my knowledge, I'm like the biggest super middleweight I've seen, even in the pro rank. So I think the only person that's as tall as me is probably Callum Smith, but he's not. He's quite thin. I'm quite big still. But yeah, I went down to super middle for my last fight. But I see how I feel. I've not really had a proper fight super middle. I might go back up to like heavy. I'm gonna see. But yeah, man. So hopefully, like I said to you before, I should have my license back by the end of the year, and then maybe a couple warm ups, and then that's it. I'm straight in. Whoever wants it can get it. Do you know what I mean? I know that
straight smoke.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have nothing to offer because obviously I've not got any belts or nothing. So hopefully, whoever I sign with or my management pull the big wallet out and get me the fights I need, man. I'm gonna have to get fast tracked because obviously I'm 29, I'm 30 next month, so I've not got much time left. You know, I have, you know what I mean, but I've not got like, it's not like I'm 21. So yeah, that to his question is hopefully by the start of next year, man, I'll be back in the ring and.
All right, we lost Ty there momentarily. All right, I'm sure we'll come back. Kurt. All right, another question for you. I hope White can win his rematch and get a title shot before AJ and Fury fight. All right, off topic, but we'll answer it anyway.
Dillian White. Well, Dillian White has his own war. I think it was probably good for Dillian. I mean, it was great for Dillian White, but I think it was good. It gives him something to focus on besides injustice. You know what I mean? So I think at this point, he knows who he's going to fight. He knows he has a job to do. And I think he needs to focus on that before any of that other stuff, because it's such a temptation to think about the possible fights, especially when you're entitled. Because Dillian White had an entitlement to these fights that he never got. And I think that bothered him so, because if you look at IFL and, you know, Matchroom and all these interviews that you've seen him with, they mentioned Fury a lot, Fury and Wilder, and all these other fighters that he could possibly fight. And the elephant in the room was right in front of him, Povetkin. You know, Povetkin was that guy that he should have been 100% focused on. Not saying he wasn't. Just one of those things where I feel that now he's going to be more in tuned, more engaged in fighting Povetkin than these other possible fights out there that he should have got. You know, so I think he can just relax a little bit and focus on one thing instead of two or three other people. So will he get it? I doubt it. Based on the history, I doubt it. I don't think that Dillian White has to knock out everyone, and he can't lose again. He can't lose again. This was the excuse. This was the big excuse for Dillian White. He lost. And if you noticed, what happened when he lost? Oh, bye. See you later. You know, it's one of those opportunities that, sorry, you lost. You were almost there. You were this close. But how close was he really? How close was he really? Honestly. But no, I hope that he can beat Povetkin because he needs to avenge that. You know, if I'm Dillian White, take the Joshua fight when Joshua comes available. If Joshua's available, because, you know, he's about to, you know, he has a lot of other fighters besides that, Fury and Usyk and Pulev, you know, so he has his date lined out for him. But I think Dillian White, no, I don't think he will. I think he has to focus on something that's actually doable. And what's doable is somebody in his stable. And that guy is Anthony Joshua. So he should have took that fight last year at Wembley. You know, but that's my counterpunch on that.
All right, Kurt Deville in the building. Ty Mitchell back again, man. Hey, I know you didn't go for a little, you know, a little taste of that rice and peas, man, before returning back, man. You know, I do the same sometimes, man.
My cousin was trying to FaceTime me, but I was literally locked up, and it took me ages to get back in for some reason. So my bad.
Yeah, nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. All right, Lady Chan, pick yourself up. My two favorite guys. What do you think Loma's next move is, Ty?
I think he's probably going to try his hardest to get a rematch. That's probably what he's trying to try his hardest to get a rematch. I think if he don't get it, he'll probably just go back down in weight. But who is he? Like, do you know what I mean? He's come up for a weight for a reason. I don't know. He's not really an easy person to read. Even after his post interview, he didn't really say much. He's not the easiest person to read. He's quite poker face a lot of the time. What can he do? I think he might have lost his fight, but he's still one of the greatest boxers to ever lace a pair of gloves up. His technical ability is just remarkable. And if he wants to stay in the game, he might have to go down, because I think if he can't get the Lopez fight, he's not good. I don't think he's going to just fight a 10-round, is he? So he's going to have to go down a way, I guess. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
All right, guys, remember, smash that like button, subscribe. Ty Mitchell, Kurt Deville in the building. It's a party. It's a party. Right, we head down to DJ Cranium, drum and bass. Remember the helicopter tune? General Levy, drum and bass.
Yeah.
All right, Lomachenko deserves a rematch. He brought most of the belts. And gave Lopez an opportunity to win them. Kurt, is it about being a gentleman and you give someone an opportunity and they return a favor, or do you just say fuck that shit, man?
You know what? I think Teofimo could, but I don't think he will. You know, I think because based on how he felt about Loma being the A-side, about Loma being the two-time Golden Olympian, about Loma being praised by the promoter and not really himself, because you know they're with the same promoter. I think because of that builds resentment. And when it builds resentment, you have things like this. You'll see. Teofimo won't give him the rematch unless Bob Arum does something like, "You gotta take the fucking rematch. If you don't, you're out of here. Go fight Haney with Eddie Hearn. You go, you bum." That type of shit. Someone has to pressure him too. But I feel that I think he deserves one, because again, look at what we have. We're asking these questions for a reason. We're not asking, look at Ty. He said he thought it was a draw. Andre Ward thought it was a draw. Terrence Crawford thought it was a draw. Okay. A lot of people think certain ways, but where do they get that? I mean, they saw the same fight that we saw. All we saw is the mistake Loma made is doing what? Waiting too late to engage. You know, did that cost him the fight? Maybe, maybe not. You know, because I mean, I think like some white envelopes was kind of slid in somebody's back pocket, honestly. But you know, in hindsight, you look at that, the scorecards were shitty. And if I'm Teofimo and I calm down, because he's on a high right now. You got to understand, this just happened last night. So he's on a high. He might say, you know what, fuck Loma. But when he calms down, he goes home, he relaxes, he reads comments, he starts to realize certain things like, you know what? He might feel like Apollo. Remember when he fought Rocky Balboa, you know, in the first Rocky?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Apollo was like, you know what? I want to fight him again. I need Balboa. I want to fight Balboa again. You know, and it's one of those things where it kept bothering him until he got back in the ring with him. You know, maybe that's a scenario. I don't know if that's absolutely going to happen, but you know, I think maybe he will consider it later on when he calms down and realizes, well, he watches the fight again. Like, how did Loma get off on me like that? Because a lot of those catch and shoots didn't work. Loma was just first. You know, again, this wasn't. And then somebody, I think it was Jason Muirhead. He said, I think he would have gassed out. Well, we got to see. We got to see if Loma would have gassed out. If he was huffing and puffing and only started fighting six rounds out of the 12, that might have been the case. But we have to find out if that would have been the case. You know, so if I'm Teofimo, I would make my legacy off of, okay, some of you guys thought that he won or got a tie. I'll beat him again. Then I'll come after all those other guys that's claiming that. You know, that to me is a true badass. Not taking anything away from Teofimo right now. But if he decided to do that, I'll fight him again. Because I got unfinished business. I wanted to knock him out, truth be told. I wouldn't really be satisfied with that, because if I got all-time greats saying they thought it was a draw. Come on, Andre Ward, pound for pound best, Terrence Crawford. Now, you can't really call it bias, right? Why? Because all these guys are with top rank. You know what I'm saying? All these guys are with top rank. So this is a top rank issue. This ain't someone from PBC or somebody else. This is top rank.
I'm going to ask Teofimo Lopez Sr. about that, and he'll probably bite my head off when I ask him.
I bet he will. He'll probably bite mine off too. Hey, let me tell you something. Yeah. That's a fucking bum. He's a sucker. I told you he was a sucker, and I told you my son was ready to rip his head off. You see, he grabbed for a reason. And you know what? And if he wouldn't have grabbed, my son would have got him out of there. I seen him buckle. I was there. You wasn't there. I was there. And let me tell you something. My son knew he hurt him. That's why he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to engage because he was a pussy. He was a pussy, and he didn't want to engage because he felt my son's power at the end of the day. He felt it. And that motherfucker didn't want to get in there and fight. That's why he took his time. And he knew he had to do something. So he started jabbing a little bit, the little rabbit shit he always does. But my son was ready for that shit, and he took his fucking head off. Yeah, man. I can see it. So get ready. It's gonna sound a little bit like that.
Oh yeah. I'm still waiting for the return of the WhatsApp from him, man. He's had a busy 24 hours, so I'm expecting when it does calm down, we'll hear what he has to say. All right, Ty, question for you. No rematch, Sekenda Alamani. No rematch. Let him move up and take on the champ, which should be Josh Taylor. Loma needs to move back down.
I think if Lopez moves up, then Loma will try and reclaim his titles, the vacant titles, I guess. That's what I'd do. Or move back down. I don't know. I think that would be a good fight for Lopez to step up and fight Josh Taylor or Ramirez. That'd be a good fight. Josh Taylor ain't no joke. Or even maybe I forgot his name. Regis Progress.
Progress.
Regis Progress a bad man, you know. I watched that. I must have watched that Progress Taylor fight about 30 times. He's such a good fighter, man. Like he's so like cocksure, but like game. Like I like him a lot, man. I like the way he fights. Obviously, Josh Taylor's also an award level fighter, but I like Regis Progress, man. I like his style, man. I've took a few things from him myself, man. He's very good, very, very good. Especially on the inside, little slight things he does with his hands and how he moves. He's a good boxer, man. I like him. But that'd be good, man. Lopez mixing up with them because Lopez is big, man. So he's probably as big as them guys. Do you know what I mean already? So that'd be good, man. That'd be a good fight, good shout. If that's what he does, I don't think he will. I think he's got these babies, worked hard for them. He's beat Lomachenko to get these belts. I don't think he's gonna just give them away and go straight up here. I think he'll try and put his stamp on the division, cement it, and then maybe he'll step up. But I assume him to definitely step up.
Yeah,
But
and there's an argument in terms of like, you know, the money that he can make. You know, if he fights Tank, which probably is unlikely. I don't think it will happen. If he fights Tank, Ryan Garcia,
you're talking
Deville
about
Haney,
Lopez or Loma?
Lopez. These are big fights. They're like the next generation of 135. These guys will probably move up to 140, and they can have loads of fights between them and really make some serious racks on top of racks. Serious racks.
What a division! What a division! There's like 5 of them, bro, and I just think they should just take it out like the old school days, like the Haglerns and, you know what I mean, Durans and so all have it out, fight each other. I think like the heavyweights should be doing it as well, man, or the Furies, the Whites, and it looks like they are doing this. Just fight everyone, man. Do you know what it is? And it really winds me up. Is there's such an emphasis on not losing. Like there's so much emphasis. Please don't lose. You can't lose. This and that. So I'm like, look, bro, if you're fighting the best, it's like, okay, the best football team in the world, they lose. How many football matches do they lose, bro? Do you know what I mean? They're still the best in the world. Like, just because if you keep fighting the best, all in the primes, you're going to lose. But that's just boxing, man. Just get in there, fight. You win some, you lose some, but at least you're going to give the fans what they want. And then you can make up your mind up who you think's the best. I don't think waiting is being like obviously you've got to be a good businessman, but you've also got to fight the best in the primes, man, and give the fans. People are going out to normal jobs, working 9 to 5s or whatever jobs they may have, to pay money to watch you lot fight, man. Give the people what they deserve, man, because really, without the fans, there's nothing. Give them proper good fights. Don't wait for people to be over the hill or cherry pick people. And obviously, Floyd Mayweather is a one-off, but he put such an emphasis on not losing. Now, all of a sudden, you lose one fight, you're the worst person. You're like, you shit. Just get in there and fight, man. Like, it is what it is, man. It's boxing. If you lose, you lose. Get up and do better and fight him again. Fight him 2-3 times. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion. I just don't like how there's such... Nobody wants to lose. You don't train to lose. You're going to do your almost to win. You'll leave everything in the ring. But it's very unlikely that you're going to be fighting the best, fight after fight, and they all fight each other and not lose. Do you know what I mean? It's very unlikely. So just get it at, like, don't obviously train to lose, but don't put such an emphasis on losing, man. It's not the worst thing in the world. Look how many fighters have lost and they still do great things. Pacquiao, Muhammad Ali, loads of fighters have done it, man. Do you know what I mean? So I've got that rant off my shoulder. That rant off my chest.
Hey, what is the hashtag? No more plumbers. No more plumbers. No more electricians.
Yeah,
just go for the proper smoke.
Just give the fans just give the supporters, man, what they pay for, man. I think Mike Tyson said it very well, man, in a statement. He said the difference between boxers now and when I was boxing, he goes, when we was boxing, we was killers. Today, the businessmen. And I think it's very true, man. Like, boxing is becoming a businessman sport, which is cool, man. You've got to look after your family, man, and you've got bills to pay and you want to set you. That's cool, but there's still got to be an element of raw ruggedness, what boxing is really, truly about. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Let me counter off that, Ty.
All right.
Let me counter for a second. Speaking of Mayweather, and Mayweather had the emphasis, or he taught the emphasis on the O. I think what Floyd did, Floyd taught backwards. He didn't teach people how to first get where you need to be to get where I'm at. I think he taught you can be where I'm at right now. But at the same token, he'll also say, well, nobody's getting the numbers like me. Nobody's going to get the numbers like you unless they be like you were. That's why Teofimo has it. That's why he knows. Because he knows, hey, I'm going to be like Pretty Boy first. Not, oh, let me be like Money now. You can't be like Money now. You can't generate money like Money now. You think the Charlos are going to get $30 million fights? No. You think Tank Davis is going to get $30 million fights? No. Unless he does what? Have the proper dancing partner. But it has to be a story developed. It has to be a history. And I think all these kids, all these guys, these men, don't want to disrespect no one. These men will all end up at 147. Tank, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and I think at that point they'll have their fights. So whoever they'll have to go through, because I mean it happened with Floyd and Sugar Shane. You know, those guys were at 130, 135 at one point, right? Even Oscar De La Hoya. But when Oscar moved up, everybody else moved up. Why? because of the money. They moved up because of the money. Sugar Shane didn't want to fight Floyd at that time because who was Floyd? No, Floyd was that, he was an undefeated guy. He was, he was a good fighter, but he didn't have the money. Who did? Oscar De La Hoya did. So everyone ended up fighting Oscar De La Hoya. Sugar Shane beat him, then Floyd later on beat him to become who he was. So I think Floyd is teaching these kids backwards, but I think it's deliberate because he may not want them to top him, honestly. He might want to train them certain things. Like that master, I'm not going to teach you everything. I'm not going to teach you everything. I'm going to teach you what I want you to know. And I think that's what Floyd's doing with his fighters. And I think he's also vicariously living through Gervonta Tank Davis.
Yeah,
think about it. So.
No, you're right.
Look, I got to ask you guys, got to ask the people tuned in. Okay, Lopez has got all the belts. But for you, ability-wise, who is the top man, 135 pounds? Open question.
I'm trying to think who else is in the division.
Tank, Haney, Garcia.
You know what's great? Yeah, I like I said, I think Tank would done Lopez as well. But Lopez ain't no joke either. It's not a foregone conclusion, but Tank, there's something special about Tank. There's something really, really special about Tank. And I just think he's very clever and very, very clever, but very powerful and explosive. And I feel like there's something in him that's different. I don't know. I feel like he won't. There's just something in him where he literally in his head refuses to lose. That's just, I see a lot of him, but there's just something deep in him where I just see him. I just think, there's just something different about him. I just think no matter what would happen, he would keep going. Kind of, do you know what I mean? That's my opinion. I think if they all fought each other, I think Tank would come out. I think,
You hear that?
Maybe a Loma a few years ago. I think Loma could stay out of the way and finger him, but I think his reactions are slowing down a slight bit. And he might just be too small, to be honest. I think he's just too small. I think that's one of the biggest factors. But I think right now, if they all box right now today, I think that Tank would come out on top. My personal opinion.
Wow, Tank would come out on top in a Royal Rumble, Kurt. Who for you is the top man at 135 pounds?
I think Tank's very good. And it's very sad because we can talk and speculate, discuss. We can do all that, but will he fight those guys? And back to Mayweather. I know Mayweather did not want him in there with Loma 2-3 years ago. Funny, a couple years ago, right? What would that have put Tank at? What age? 23. How old is Teofimo? 23. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so he should have done it by now if he was going to do it. And I think, honestly, Teofimo Lopez stole the opportunity from him. But did Gervonta really want it? What's that?
Is Tank 25 now?
Yeah, he's 25.
I think, 25. Yeah, 25.
I thought he was. Do you know what it is? Because he won his world title when he's young. I'm just keep thinking, I forget people grow up, man.
They grow up.
I thought he was 23.
Lopez is 23.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought he was the same age.
So, see, that's the thing. And then at this point where Tank, he has the skills. It's not that he doesn't have the skills. I think he's a very good fighter. Prove it. See, we talk about all these fighters, and then honestly, that fight, due to the politics of the game, you more than likely won't see a Lopez versus Tank. You know what I'm saying? You will hear wars across Twitter and whatever, social media, but you won't see those guys in the ring. However, a fight that is doable, Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, they will get together and get a fight. Devin Haney's with Eddie Hearn. Of course, we know Lopez is with Bob Arum. That fight is doable. So I think that fight puts more emphasis on that division because they're the only champs around. We can talk about the undefeated. They throw Garcia in there. He still has to deal with Luke, right? Cool Hand Luke. But those guys don't have belts. So if we're going to talk about champions, let's talk about champions because those guys, sure, they're okay. But matter of fact, Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting Leo Santa Cruz at 130, a weight class that he had held to make. So I don't even really think Gervonta's in the discussion right now because he's fighting someone in a different weight class, from a different weight class. So those champions, I feel they should fight. Now, theoretically, Gervonta, he has the skills. He could come out victorious if he presses the issue, but it's a totally different story when you're fighting 38-year-old guys versus guys your age or younger than you, like Lopez. See, fighters look good. Just like a lot of times you thought, oh, man, this guy looks good. Put him in there with Mayweather until they get in there with Mayweather. Then it's a different fight.
Yeah.
They can only do what that other fighter allows them to do, and they can look good. They're called showcase fights. Those showcase fights make a fighter look very well. So Gervonta, in other words, is he has a shitload of showcase fights. He's going to look dynamic because he's supposed to. But put him in there with Lopez, you might see a totally different situation. And you might think, well, damn, this ain't the Gervonta I'm used to seeing. There you go, because the IQ has been raised.
True.
So, but will he win? Can he win? I think he can win, but will he fight? I doubt it. I doubt it.
Is there a big chance that ill discipline, hanging about with the likes of Adrian Broner, ice on top of ice and bottle service in the clubs might actually prevent Gervonta from, reaching the summit?
Eventually. But here's the ironic thing about Adrian Broner. When have you heard Adrian or seen or witnessed Adrian Broner to duck a fight? Think about it. He might party like a rock star, right? He's about billions, about bullshit, about whatever. But at the end of the day, he's never done what these younger fighters done. He's fought everyone. Think about it. He's fought everyone that called him out. He fought him. So I've never seen Adrian duck anybody. So yeah, maybe the lifestyle. I think Gervonta, he keeps hanging around. To answer your question, yeah, it will affect him eventually. He keeps getting shit faced and hammered with Adrian Broner in clubs. Yeah, that would, that could be the case. But as far as what Adrian Broner's done in his career, a 4 division weight champion, it's pretty impressive. He just did it too early. He didn't follow the Mayweather thing. But of course, when he was undefeated and he did get all those belts from weight class to weight class, Floyd had something to say, right? If you guys can remember, I think he's doing this too fast. That type of shit. I think he's been pushed and rushed. So that's why I feel that he's not rushing or pushing Gervonta Tank Davis, because he knows if he does that, there's a good chance he might lose one of those fights. So,
yeah. As you said, it's all about the business. Right, guys, we've got 5 minutes left. Fire those questions into Ty Mitchell, Kurt Deville in the building, Sabrero's in the building. I tip my hat to the guy that asks us the best question. Come on. All right, so look, obviously Lomachenko has been dethroned, Ty. Is there an argument in saying that the blueprint was out there? Luke Campbell, Pedraza. Is there an argument that these guys kind of showed Teofimo Lopez what to do to defeat Lomachenko?
Well, no, because they didn't defeat him, did they? So, to answer that question,
he had moments of vulnerability, though.
Yeah, but that's boxing, isn't it? You can't go swimming and not get wet. You're gonna have situations where, he's a human. He's gonna get hit with shots. Even Shane Mosley caught Mayweather with 2 wicked shots, but he definitely didn't show the blueprint how to beat him, really, because he got up and roused him. Not got up, but just carried on and roused him. Sorry. But yeah, I don't think they showed him the blueprint. I don't think Lopez tried to take anything from their book. I think he just boxed his own fight, did his own thing, and boxed the way he knew how to box, and just boxed to his game plan. And kudos to him, man. He did what he said he was going to do. And you've got to think, he was already a world champion, and he actually called for the fight and took the fight and beat him. There's a lot of people that say it, but you have to do it. It's all right saying it and doing it, and I can do this, I can do that, but he stepped up to the plate and he's done it. So you can't knock nothing from him, man. I think he just boxed his own fight. I don't think, like I said, he didn't copy anybody. So yeah, man, I give him all the credit due, man. I bet he's ecstatic. I bet he's sitting there smiling. I bet he's happy today. I bet he's just been smiling, man. What a feeling that must be. Do you know what I mean? So no, to answer your question, I don't think they showed him the blueprint. I think he boxed his own fight. I think he'd have boxed like that regardless of anything. I think if anything, he showed people the blueprint now because he's beat him. Obviously, I know he lost his second fight to Salado or Aldado, or whatever his name was.
Toledo, yeah.
That was very iffy in the decision itself, anyway. But yeah, no, I think if anything, he's set the blueprint because he's the first one to properly convincingly beat him. Well, not convincingly, but he can't win about the decision at all.
All right. We're about to end this live stream. Kurt, any last thoughts?
I think there's a silver lining for Loma. I just thought about it. Loma's lost. So people think, hey, maybe Loma's old. He's vulnerable. So let's get him. Maybe Floyd might. You know what? I want Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lomachenko. I think that fight can happen. Let's do it. Yeah. You get him in there. And for the record, I think he did, it was almost a draw to me. So, I think that Gervonta Tank Davis will do a better job than Lopez ever would. And let's get that fight. So that fight might happen. It might happen now because people seeing Loma. Well, maybe he's missed a step. Like Ty said, maybe he's, not the way he used to be a couple years ago. He's not in his prime like people say that he is. So that it might be open season for someone like Loma. So Loma might, and in fact, get all those fights that he probably wanted a couple years ago. So that's if he doesn't get the rematch. So, it could be a silver line in that way. So that may be something to look forward to in the future as time permits. But that's it.
All right, guys. Ty Mitchell, thanks for attending the live stream.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
Kurt Deville, Punchboxing, Pep Talk, Pro BZ. Thanks everyone for joining. We out, ya. Thank you.
Peace.